So tell us a little bit about Benton Bradford. I mean, I wanted to know, you've worked with some very inspiring and big name companies,
Sure.
Georgia Power, Truist, Comcast, Cox. And I jotted down, I know you've got executive coaching, recruitment, some HR consulting there. So let's just start off and tell us what all you do at Benton Bradford.
Benton Bradford for me is a passion project. It's something that I created 13 years ago as a way to combine what I felt were all the best parts of my work. Whether it was executive coaching, recruiting, diversity, equity, and inclusion, managing projects, all of those things were so inspiring to me to work with. Here's how I kind of came to consulting was that I was an operational leader, and the thing that would keep me up at night wasn't strategy. It was how to get people behind the work that we needed to get done. And that's how I came to consulting. So when I think about executive coaching, I think about how do I bring forth the best parts of an individual so that they can lead others in a way that honors their humanity while achieving business results. The same thing with recruiting. Recruiting, I look at as the tip of the talent management spear, where you bring in someone, you excite them, you delight them with your opportunity. And I thought that that was exciting. Same thing with projects. I just love working in collaborative groups where sometimes you come up with an idea, you realize it's not the best idea, someone else has the idea in the room, and that feels awesome as well.
Yeah.
So that's how I created it.
Well, I love that because you teed up the focus that I kind of come up with for our show.
Great.
And just even the initial conversations that you and I have had, and then, as I mentioned to you before we started the show, of just looking at your LinkedIn and kind of gathering ideas. And I thought it would be perfect to really focus on this aspect of human capital.
Sure.
So let's start off on what specifically does that mean to you?
Human capital is really about the people within an organization. And I'm most concerned with people remaining human and having humanity at work. One of the things that we always talk about at Benton Bradford is trust, candor, humility, and grace. That these are the 4 essential elements for any working relationship, any initiative. If you want to do a change initiative, if you want to implement an ERP system, if you want to implement a new purchasing system, you want to do whatever it is, diversity, equity, inclusion, those 4 things are integral to the success of any of those projects.
Yeah. Well, I love a lot of what I found that you speak on too is this focus on authenticity, because I feel like that has to couple with the trust and the candor, right? Because
Absolutely.
if I'm not feeling like I'm getting the truth out of you and it's
That's right.
a genuine connection,
That's right.
I'm not going to pay attention to anything else that you have to say.
Right.
How do you feel that we represent that? And also, I'd love for you to highlight how we represent that in the right way, because I feel like a lot of people talk about authenticity.
Right.
And we have a general idea of what it means, but I think we struggle with, but what does that mean in its appropriate boxes, for lack of a better way of saying it, right? Like when you're with your spouse, there's a different type of authenticity versus when you're talking with your team members.
Right.
And so you want to share enough to where you're connecting with them on the right level. So what does that really look like in the workspace?
We're really big on definitions at Benton Bradford. So I think it's important for individuals and organizations to define what authenticity means at work.
Yeah.
For me, authenticity at work is about sharing those parts of yourself that, number one, you want to share. So it's kind of like you do an inventory. What do I want to talk about? So for Richard Smith I love talking about my sons, Miles and Richard, who are 7 and 9. Love talking about my relationship with my wife. I love talking about my passion outside of work, which is science fiction and golf, 2 separate and totally unrelated things. But it is about sharing those parts of yourself so that people can get to know you in an authentic way.